Hi, everybody. It's that time again. Picks to Post on Tuesday night, where Dan Mattingly and I come together and we attempt to pick the winner straight up in the NFL. This is week 13. Dan, you had a great week last week.
It's about time.
You went 12-4. I was 10-6. So. Bruins fan was 11-5. Matt McClellan was 9-7. DJ John had a good day, 11-5. Overall, though, we had two games that we differed with Rob's channel, and we lost both games. We are now one behind. So we, as Andy Reid would say for the coaches after a loss, we got to do a better job.
Yeah, we do. It's a tough one.
Right, this week, week 13, we start off with a Thursday night game with the Buffalo Bills against the New England Patriots. Patriots are going to be wearing their throwback uniforms, Patriot Pat helmets, and red jerseys. I like those uniforms.
Mm-hmm. They're a good look about once or twice a year.
Well, I'd be glad if they went back to them permanently.
Yeah, they've got a good look going into the week. Mac Jones kind of looks to have some signs of life going. He threw for a career high, nearly 400 yards last week, but against a pretty overmatched defense. Buffalo, they're pretty solid in that unit. They're getting a little healthier. Not having Von Miller will hurt, but I do think that Buffalo can go in and win this game, even though they will be in vastly inferior uniforms.
The Bills, Josh Allen has not had quite the season. Numbers are okay, but the one number that's not okay is 4 red zone interceptions.
Yeah.
Somehow he's got to get over trying to do too much at the wrong time. I think for this game, the New England Patriots are going to have too many coverage issues to keep up with the Bills receivers. Let's see, Buffalo's not going to have Von Miller, but they're going to get the linebacker Rousseau back. It's probably he'll be back this week. Buffalo will want to get off to a fast start and hopefully not play a close game. They're 4-9 in their one-score games last 13 times. But New England, I think they should have won last week. That touchdown with
Hunter Henry.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, he has control of the ball. He does a football move.
Yeah.
He's in the end zone. I thought as soon as you're in the end zone, as soon as you control the ball, that's a touchdown.
It was a touchdown. They were robbed, in my opinion, too.
I just couldn't see any other way to mark it. Now, they did give up 14 points on special teams, New England, running into the punter and giving up a kick return touchdown.
Did you ever think you'd see a Belichick team do that in one game? Jeez. He's never done that. None of his teams did that.
He usually has great special teams. New England split with the Bills last year. Have they played yet this year?
I don't think so. I think they're backloaded.
I think this is their first game.
Yeah.
So you're picking Buffalo. I'm also down with Buffalo, and we'll go with that.
There we go. I think, like you said, the receivers for Buffalo are key.
This is too much. Gabriel Davis and Stephon Diggs, and the tight end's not bad.
Knox is great. Yeah, Knox can step up when they overcover those two.
All right, the Atlanta Falcons are going to have their throwback uniforms. They'll be wearing black jerseys and their red helmets. Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-7, and Atlanta's 5-7, both trying to stay relevant.
Yep. Well, this is probably one of the worst scheduling games the Steelers could ever have. A turnaround from Monday to Thursday is a really tough ask for any team. They did pick up a good win on Monday night, and in a typical week, I would probably have the Steelers because I think they're rounding into a better team.
Is this a Thursday night game?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's
Sunday.
Sunday, but yeah, I misspoke. But with injuries to Najee Harris, I like Benny Snell, the backup. It's a tough one. I think Atlanta might. They make a lot of dumb mistakes, but with the injuries for the Steelers, I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Falcons.
Got you down for Atlanta? All right, Atlanta has only won 2 out of their last 6 games. In those 2 games they won, they only won by a field goal. Marcus Mariota, I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure, probably more than usual. Steelers can't get after the quarterback. He's at 62%, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But again, I think he's going to be under a lot of stress. I watched some of that Pittsburgh game last week, and it looks like Pittsburgh has revived their run game a bit.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, with Najee Harris and Snell. I think Pittsburgh's wide receivers could potentially have a field day against Atlanta's secondary. Atlanta's secondary is definitely one of the worst in the league. It'd probably be close early. Pittsburgh's going to have to figure out how to control Atlanta's running backs, but I think they'll get that figured out and be able to pressure Mariota. I'm picking Pittsburgh to win this game. So we're split on that pick. Pickens, his numbers aren't great, but he had a good week last week. I mean, he
looked good. He's
solid.
Great going across the middle. He's a big physical kid. He's a pretty good rookie. But yeah, you're right. He hasn't produced the way it was expected, but that's hard to do with a rookie quarterback sometimes. They're getting on the same page as new players.
All right, next game is not on the line. I tried to look up the early lines on some of these games. Green Bay at Chicago. Green Bay is 4-8. Chicago is 3-9. Aaron Rodgers said this afternoon he's planning on playing.
Well, that's fine. I kind of want to take the Bears here. The Packers defense looks terrible. They were absolutely embarrassed last week. They gave up 400 rushing yards, something crazy.
Yeah, it was 363.
Yeah. Jeez. But the history with these teams makes me pause. The Packers still have Jones and Dillon. They can pound the ball. And the Bears may be playing a backup quarterback. Fields may be out. Hard to say on a Tuesday, but give me the Packers. I really think that they're starting to maybe figure something out in the passing game with Watson. And I just am not sure what I'm going to see from this Bears team this week.
Okay, we have a surprise guest with us today. That's Lori. She's picking again.
Hey, look at this.
How about that? Lori's got Buffalo and Pittsburgh. And so you've got Green Bay. You're going to take Green Bay.
Yep.
When Jordan Love came in last week, he actually looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. 67%, a touchdown, 10.3 yards per pass attempt. That's outstanding.
That is.
If you're over 7, that's pretty good. So he had a good week throwing, and it looked like the coaches were happy. I don't know why Rodgers wants to play. Green Bay season is going nowhere.
Yeah.
He's got bad ribs. He's got a broken thumb. He says he's a competitor. That's why he wants to play. Like I guess most people in his position would say that. At some point, Green Bay's got to turn the page. Their future is not with Aaron Rodgers at this point.
They gave him a lot of money to keep him for a couple more years. It'd be hard to get out from under that contract.
I think Green Bay's strong running game is going to be a battle of running games. I think Jones and Dillon against Montgomery. Hebert's still injured, so I give Green Bay an edge there. Between Dillon and Jones, they've got 1,350 yards rushing. That's pretty significant. It's hard to pick the Packers. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games, but I do see a path to victory. They got a better running game. And Christian Watson's got 6 touchdowns in the last few games. He is really broken. And he's fast.
Oh,
he may have that catch, and he was getting down that sideline like nobody's business. The Bears in their secondary last week were out 3 starters. I think 2 of them are questionable. One of them is definitely out, but 2 of them might be back this week. But they're not going to have Darnell Mooney at wide receiver. He's out for the season. And Justin Fields looks like he's still going to be out. It's going to be Trevor Siemian. So you got Rodgers, Jones, and Phillips, Watson against basically Montgomery.
Yeah, it's Montgomery. He's going to need 200 yards on the ground and 4 TDs, I think.
Well, he might get the 200 yards. I wouldn't necessarily count that out, but I'm picking Green Bay. And Lori's got Green Bay as well, so we're all in agreement there. Next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. Jacksonville is 4-7, and Detroit's 4-7.
So, they're 2 teams that kind of started to tick up. Detroit's at home. They're starting to really find who their pieces are. Williams has played phenomenal, the running back there. I really enjoy watching him run. I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is up there with any receiver in the league. He's probably part of that second tier of great receivers, just under the Jefferson, Kupp, and Adams.
Who would you take? He's a slot receiver, and Christian Kirk is Jacksonville's slot receiver. Who would you take between the 2?
That's a tough one. Kirk is very good, but I think St. Brown is more physical and has more big play ability. I think that bears out with the stats and the contested catch numbers for St. Brown. But if we see Trevor Lawrence play the way that he played last week on a consistent basis, the Jaguars are going to be a tough out for any team. They have more potential, I think, than the Lions. I think they have a better defense than the Lions, and I'm picking them this week. Kirk's a great player. Etienne has really turned it on since they let go of Robinson. And I think Lawrence is finally starting to show why he was the number 1 pick in a pretty deep quarterback class last year.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has been pretty good, actually, for 3 weeks. His numbers are about the same as Goff's, 67% with 16 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
But
Goff
is up, and Goff is
going down.
kind of trending down.
Goff is 67%, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Both have about 7 yards per passing attempt. I think this game is going to be. I think this game is going to be, Hutchinson's defense.
Yeah.
Travon Walker's defense. I think Travion Walker has more help on defense than Hutchinson has. Hutchinson's just about out there on an island, basically. It looked like Detroit was we're joined by DJ John, 444. Hi, DJ. DJ, we have talked about the Buffalo New England game, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and Green Bay Chicago game, and we're on the fourth game now. Detroit's defense looked like they were kind of getting squared away, but Andy kind of played credibly against Buffalo on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, definitely. They had a good day. That was a good game.
Still, their numbers, the Lions on defense are last in points allowed and yards allowed. So that's
it's a tough one.
Yeah, they look like they've gotten better, but they really haven't. I think the addition of ETN being back, and as you said, Trevor Lawrence looks like an ascending quarterback right now. I don't know why Rob's channel is so down on him, but his turnovers, 6 interceptions, that's less than Mahomes. Mm-hmm. His turnovers seem like they came in like a couple of games.
Yeah, it was like week 2 and 3. He had a crazy.
And one of them, I think it was a really bad rain day or something like that.
Mm-hmm. He had a bunch of fumbles, like 4 fumbles.
Yep. So in those 2 games, Lawrence has been really pretty solid. I'm with you. I'm picking Jacksonville over the Lions, although the Lions, they're kind of the hot commodity right now.
Yeah.
And they played well for a few weeks, but somehow I'm still thinking I'm taking Jacksonville. Next up is the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings. This is not an easy pick either.
I don't like this game. I sweated over this one and one that's coming up. Really don't have a good feel for this. If Mike White is going to throw the ball the way that he did, I mean, he can spread it out against this Vikings defense. They do not defend well against the pass. They're pretty good up front. They do an okay job against the run. Dalvin Cook, he got shut out again last week. He just doesn't seem to consistently put in work, especially against better defenses. It's going to be kind of the Justin Jefferson show. And Kirk Cousins just spreading it out between him and Thielen and the other options out there with Hawkinson. The Jets defense is good. They play hard for Saleh. We say that every week. I don't know what I'm getting from this Jets offense. And Minnesota's at home. I hate this pick, but I'm going with the Vikings.
All right. DJ John has caught up. He's got Packers and Detroit. And he is also with you, Dan, on the Vikings. Let's see where I am. The New York Jets, I love watching them. They are so fundamentally sound. We've talked about before, their pad level is good. They make their blocks. And I think this is definitely one of the highlight games. I played 2 games on Fast Drive Football 2022 this morning on my channel. I thought about this game, but I didn't play this one. I played the Buffalo New England game. Buffalo won that game in overtime, 23-17. They come from 2 touchdowns down late to tie it up and then win the game. But I should have probably played this game. Another thing about the Jets too, they don't, they went into like the last 30 seconds before they had an accepted penalty against them in the first half last week. They don't do a lot of penalties. This game is going to be an epic matchup, I think, between Sauce Gardner and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's true.
And I kind of think Gardner can do okay against there's not many corners that I would hang my hat on, but I will hang my hat on Sauce Gardner. I think he's going to control Justin Jefferson. 6'4", long arms, not afraid to tackle, and he's fast. So we'll see how it turns out that's one I really want to watch. Everybody's, sky high over Mike White, with the huge game he had last week.
Yeah.
But that was against a depleted Chicago Bears secondary. They had 3 of the 4 starters were out. And so the Jet receivers pretty much had their way with that secondary. But still giving credit, he hit his passes and threw the ball accurately. And he's done it before. First time he started, he threw for maybe 400 yards, or at least very close to that.
Yeah,
so 2 out of 4 have been games like we saw last week from White. Don't think we'll be seeing Wilson for a while.
No.
The other thing that encourages me, too, about the Jets is they do have upset wins over Dallas and Miami.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
So they can get up for big games, and this is a big game. They've won 6 out of their last 8 games. Both those losses were to New England. Last week, the Vikings figured out New England's defense with Justin Jefferson. He had a big day. They're missing Christian Darrisaw, their stud left tackle. He is out on concussion protocol and questionable for this week. He might be back. We will see. But I'm picking the upset here. I think it's going to be the Jets over Minnesota. Let's see. Didn't get Lori's pick yet. Lori, who do you think is going to win the
Vikings.
Oh, she's got Vikings?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next game is the Washington Redskins. This is another good one. A lot of tough games to pick this week.
Yeah.
Washington Commanders at the New York Giants.
Well, the Giants can only get healthier. Saquon is able to carry that team. He's shown it all year. Jones has been having a little bit of trouble finding ways to make it work with the limited receiving core that he kind of brought life to earlier in the season. But, as teams get tape on you, they tend to take the little things that are easy to do away and make things more difficult when you don't have a receiver that can really go up and get one for you. Commanders are on a tear. The defense has just turned itself from where they were in the beginning of the season to where they are now. Big difference. I think Dable will have a plan going in. They're home. Their defense has had a little bit of struggle.
We got Danny froze up here.
And I believe that they will take this one in a close game.
Okay, we lost you for a few seconds. Your screen froze, so we didn't exactly hear which one you're taking.
Oh, all right. So that just you can give me the win on that one then. Either way, I'm taking the Commanders. I think. Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders. I think they're better equipped on weapons and defense. I know that Dable will have a good plan, but I think the momentum is with Washington this week.
Well, a scary thing for the Giants, I was watching the Boomer Esiason, Boomer and Geo show. It's a New York sports talk show in the mornings. And Boomer says that he thinks Saquon, in his opinion, he thinks Saquon is fighting an injury. Which is why he's kind of disappeared the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been okay, but not what he was putting up earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I think in general, if he truly is fighting an injury, it's going to be way too much on Daniel Jones to win this game. It's an important game for New York. They play the Commanders 2 of the next 3 games, and they've lost 3 of the last 4, so they really need to get back on track. When you play the Commanders, you've been in a game. They are a physical bunch, especially on the defensive line. And Brian Robinson is a physical. Well, both of them are physical runners. Brian Robinson definitely got a mention on the angry runs on Good Morning Football. with that touchdown run where he dragged a bunch of people about 5 yards to get in the end zone.
He's a beast.
And that's kind of the Giants' weakness, stopping power running between the tackles, and that's a strength for the Commanders. Chase Young's practice status is limited, so I don't expect to see him yet. Heineke's rolling along. He's at 62%, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 6.8 yards per pass attempt. Does he tend to kind of start off? He's won 4 out of 5 games.
Yeah.
But I think in the past when he's got in, he tends to start hard. Does he tend?
He starts slow. There's usually an early pick. Then somehow he talks himself up, and all of a sudden we're seeing him hit, 15-yard outs. He'll find McLaurin across the middle. He's a streaky guy. And lately he's just been a little more consistent than we saw last year, but I mean, he makes winning plays.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, he started pretty good last year. Did he fade toward the end of the year last year?
Yes. That's the reason they brought Wentz in. He started to really make a lot more mistakes as teams got more tape on him.
This might be the time where he potentially could start fading, although he's getting good protection. And that's one of the big differences between him and Wentz. He's been only sacked 9 times.
Yeah. But he's a better scrambler.
Yeah, he gets out of the way.
Yeah. Wentz just takes hits.
Yeah, Wentz has been sacked 23 times. So
yeah, he just stands there. I don't understand.
Yeah, he's been sacked almost 3 times more than Heineke. All right, I'm picking Washington. And DJ John, he's got the
Giants.
He's got the Giants. So we're getting some Warriors with Commanders. Next up, we have another tough game to figure here. Tennessee Titans at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Whew. Well, good luck to Mike Vrabel game plan in this game. I know they've got a great defense over there, but man, Philly is nasty on offense, and they really showed it last week. Yeah, they're playing against a team that didn't have a very good defense to stop them. And, the interior of that Titans line is a little more equipped. I'm sure they'll try and do a better job of keeping Jalen Hurts in front of them, kind of do a mushy blitz instead of going all out to him so he can get around on the edge. So, maybe they can limit Hurts and Sanders a tiny bit. But, it's going to be a tough task. I think that Vrabel could do it, but there's a better chance that the Eagles, between A.J. Brown and Sanders and Hurts, that they just find a way to put up more points than the Titans can keep up with. They've proven, and I think Philly has a good enough defense to limit Derrick Henry. I think he was held to 2 yards per carry last week.
Yeah, he didn't have that. He had that long pass catch.
Yeah.
But the running was not good.
No. And the Eagles defense is good enough to hold him back as well with the limited passing game. Give me the Eagles.
The defensive line for the Titans were missing D'Amico Autry.
Yeah.
And I think he was a big loss last week, and it looks like he's going to be out this week as well. And with all those receivers and the speed of the Eagles receivers, I think the Titans are going to have to play 2 safeties, and you might get those situations where you have an open middle of the field. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to behoove the Titans to have somebody spy Hurts.
You have to.
And you can't really give up another defensive line. You're not going to have Jeffrey Simmons do that job.
No.
Weaver's not going to do that job either. He's going to rush the passer. So it's going to have to be a linebacker if they do that. I think Vrabel's got his hands full.
Yeah.
How do you defend the Eagles, a team that just, oh, by the way, rushed for 363 yards last week?
Yeah.
And they have a receiver who's going to be highly motivated coming against Tennessee, A.J. Brown.
Revenge game for him, yeah.
Revenge game for him. I think that I like the Titans, but it looks like too tall of a task for me. I think Philadelphia is going to win this game. Philadelphia was scuffling for a couple of weeks, but they got back on track last week. DJ John likes the Eagles too. We are all in agreement there. Next game is the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. Broncos are 3-8. We didn't think that was going to happen at the beginning of the year.
I picked them to be the worst in the division, but I never expected this.
Yeah.
Well, Broncos, they're openly fighting on the sidelines. Everybody can see it. Russell Wilson has lost the team completely. He doesn't have any friends on that sideline. That's not a good place for a quarterback to be, especially when the team knows that they basically mortgaged their future to bring him in that building. He's just not able to put it together for him. And, it's unfortunate because the rest of the roster, especially that defense, is supremely talented. You knew they were kind of giving up on the season when they traded away Chubb. I know they brought another guy in to replace him, but you don't give up probably the best player on your team mid-season if you think you're going anywhere. The Ravens, they are so limited on offense. It is hard to watch. I know that Lamar Jackson is a supremely talented player, but he just doesn't have a lot of places to go with the ball. Give me the Ravens. I think they're just the better team, but both of these teams have some chinks in the armor for sure.
Well, Baltimore's had some historic struggles. Closing out games. They've had at least a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter 4 times. But can you see Denver coming back down from 9 points at the fourth quarter?
You see them scoring more than 10 points in the game.
In the game in total. So, against Baltimore's defense, I don't think they're going to even get 10 points in the game. Ravens linebackers are as good as any. Raekwon Smith, Justin Houston, and Patrick Queen. They're pretty good. It is the Lamar Jackson show, and that's pretty much it. But it's been pretty good.
Yeah. Mark Andrews looks like East Coast Travis Kelce most weeks.
Who's wearing more jerseys nowadays? Used to be there were a lot of Denver Bronco jerseys in Garden City. Probably Chiefs or Cowboys or Broncos.
So when I go out now, you see less Broncos than last year for sure. There were a lot more Bronco jerseys and memorabilia out in the streets of Garden City. Now it's a lot of Chiefs. I think we might have some fair weather fans out here, unfortunately. And I still see, of course, the Raiders and the Cowboys guys are out there in full force.
I thought last week that the defensive end Gregory would be back. Not going to be back. Not going to be back this week either. He had arthroscopic surgery, so he is out. And the new hot guy, Baron Browning, I'm not sure he's healthy too because he didn't seem like he didn't play a whole lot last week. Denver's just a mess. I think Nathaniel Hackett is the next coach to go. I don't see why they're going to even think about staying with him. Everybody's got the Ravens. So we got the next game. That's the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson's debut.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of boos for sure coming back to Houston for your first game.
All the women will be playing.
Oh yeah, in every stadium they should be.
In all stadiums.
Yeah. So yeah, it's incredible that the NFL mishandles everything they're so consistent with how bad a job they do PR wise that it's amazing. You know, it's going to be Cleveland. They've got too much talent. The Texans, they're trying different things at quarterback. They know they don't have what they need with Mills. They've got the running back Pierce, who's decent, but their defense is so bad. They really can't stay with Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper, and if Deshaun Watson even looks remotely like the player that was taking the Texans to the playoffs on a regular basis, Cleveland will win this game.
Houston, Texas made a quarterback change last week. They put in Kyle Allen in place of Davis Mills. Didn't seem to be an improvement, 67%, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and only 5.5 yards per pass attempt. And plus, this week, he's probably going to be playing with one eye on Myles Garrett, everything he does. Garrett's got 10 sacks. He could take over this game.
Yeah.
Probably with one hand tied behind his back. Chubb's up 1,039 yards, 5.2 average. Kareem Hunt's been a little bit of a disappointment this year. He's getting carries, but he's not really been as productive as he's been in the past. I think this is an easy win, an easy game for Deshaun Watson. It is going to be curious to see how he does. There were some guys talking about how they watched him during training camp last summer, and he was not looking very good. He was looking like he was kind of checked out, disinterested. But we'll see. He's got no easier team to break in than the Houston Texans.
Right. And if they have to, Brissett is playing well.
Yeah, I think he's probably won himself a starting job somewhere in the league next year.
Maybe with Houston, if they have a rookie quarterback and they need to sit him a little.
Okay, we are all on Cleveland in this game. That game is the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, two teams going in opposite directions. The Rams didn't really have enough to give the Chiefs a scare in a game that the Chiefs left a ton of points on the board during. Their defense is, they've got the two bright spots with Ramsey. He played well. I thought Jalen Ramsey had a pretty good game in that game.
Rams defense was credible last week.
Yeah, no, he looked good. Donald, he's still a wrecking ball in there in the middle.
Not this week, though. He's got a high ankle sprain.
That's a tough injury to play with. I mean, most guys don't even try to play through that.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing.
Oh, is he gone? Okay. I wasn't sure. I got conflicting reports when I was looking at it. But Seattle's offense is too high octane for the Rams to stay with. I expect them to win this one going away. Defensively, very improved. And, man, that running back is fun to watch. He's a special one.
Yeah, I think he's another one that was on angry runs, Kenneth Walker. Like I said, and you said that the Rams defense was decent against the Chiefs. It seemed like they had handcuffs on their quarterback Perkins.
In the first half, especially.
Yeah, definitely in the first half. They opened it up a little bit in the second half, but he didn't complete too many passes. 56%, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 4.7 yards per attempt. That's pretty poor. In the entire season, the Rams have only scored more than 20 points 2 times. It's been tough. They getting any offense with a makeshift offensive line. They have had 11 different combinations on the offensive line. I don't see how they have a chance here against Seattle. Metcalf and Lockett are on pace for both of them to have 1,000-yard seasons. Nuwasu's got 7 sacks and 8 tackles for a loss on the defense. I was a little disappointed in the Seahawks corners last week. I thought they'd do better than they did. They're both rookies.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they'll have a bounce back week. This week I'm picking Seattle. DJ John's got Seattle and Lori's got Seattle as well. So everybody is on the Seahawks. Here's another tough game. There's a lot of them this week.
Yeah, there are.
Miami Dolphins at San Francisco.
Yeah, this is defense against offense right here. So I was looking at this line all the way up until the countdown for us to start this show. And man, yeah, I changed my mind about 80 times, I think. I don't know about you, but
I see San Francisco's favored by 3.5 points.
Yeah.
It's supposed to, the early weather report for this game is 60% chance of rain, 54 degrees.
54. And I mean, that kind of favors
Rainbow Frisco, yeah.
Yeah. That being said, San Francisco is going to have to put up more points. They had 13 against the Saints. They didn't need all 13 because the Saints had 0. But, you know, I'd love to have seen them have a better offensive output the week before going up against this buzzsaw that is the Dolphins' passing attack. That's a tough team to slow down. You know, it's one of those where if Hill and Waddle go off, they can beat anybody. They really can. They're pretty good on defense. But I trust the Niners. I think that their defense is running on all cylinders, and I think they have enough to hopefully stay out in front of the Dolphins. Might change this pick. I don't know. I got Niners. Give me Niners.
Okay, San Francisco. That's the thing about San Francisco. They can win the game with defense or win the game with offense. They are a very diverse and balanced team, and now they're pretty healthy. Healthier than the Dolphins. The Dolphins have 2 offensive tackles that are battling injuries. Armstead, I think, left the game with a pectoral injury, and I think the guy that came in there gave up a bunch of sacks.
Yeah.
So that was a problem. And then they lost. There's an offensive line, Eichenberg.
Mm-hmm.
He's already out. So that's 3 out of 5 starters that are not healthy, and one is definitely out. Not 100% sure Armstead's going to be playing, but I think he will be playing. Offensive line Jackson also left early with an ankle injury. So there's problems on the offensive line. I used to bet money seriously against the line. I never talked about this on the channel. Have I ever talked about this with you?
No.
Yeah,
you talked about it with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know about that history there.
Yeah.
In the early 90s. And one of the things I definitely looked at was 2 or more injuries on the same unit. Well, they got 3 injuries on the offensive line. And now they got to play the San Francisco 49ers and Nick Bosa, who's just been playing out of his mind. So I think there's an edge there with San Francisco. If it rains, there's an edge there for San Francisco. I think their offense will rebound from having a quiet week last week against the Saints. And even if they don't rebound, they'd still have the league's top defense and points allowed and yards allowed. They'll play a shell defense probably against the Dolphins, try to keep Hill and Waddle in front of them. And if it rains, they'll be even easier. And with the concerns on the offensive line and the way Bosa and Giants rush the passer, I hope Tua gets out of this game in one piece.
That's a good point. Yeah.
All right, we got Lori on the 49ers, DJ Johnson. We are all on the 49ers. This is another game I probably could have played, but I played the Chiefs in Cincinnati, our next game. And that is our next game to pick. A redo of the AFC Championship game last year. I think this is the game of the week. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrows, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
You really said it. Bengals are on a tear. They're looking good. They have a bad man over there at quarterback. That guy has as much swagger as anybody in the league. He has T. Higgins playing out of his mind.
Might get Chase back this week.
Yeah, it would be a good week for them to get Chase back. We can't be sure, but I would imagine he'll try to go at least. But the Chiefs, their defensive backs have really stepped up, especially in recent weeks. That defense is playing very well. They've got guys at every level that can really, really play. The trio of Snead and Jones and Bolton are just game wreckers for some teams. Love that unit. It's finally as impressive almost as the Chiefs offense. The Bengals are going to give them a game. It's going to be a shootout. I think we all kind of expect that. But I think the Chiefs will find a way to win this game. They've been doing it all year. The offense will kind of try to find a way to spread the ball out, hopefully. I think that Mahomes was upset with himself for having blinders on Travis Kelce every time he walked into the red zone. He's got to stop doing that. He needs to find his other receivers because clearly they're going to try to stop Kelce in the red zone. Maybe Cincinnati isn't as equipped to do it one-on-one as the Rams were with Jalen Ramsey, but I'd really like to see the ball get spread out more and be more creative in the red zone this week. Give me the Chiefs.
DJ John's got the Chiefs. Lori's got the Chiefs. I think the national media is kind of trending toward Seattle, what I'm hearing, or in Cincinnati, from what I'm hearing early. Burrows is only sacked one time.
Yeah.
They're supposed to get Jamar Chase back, supposed to get Joe Mixon back, but Samaje Perine has been about as good as Mixon.
Yep.
Perine's been very good.
Gotta love those OU running backs.
Compare these quarterbacks. Burrows is at 68% with 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 7.7 yards per attempt. Mahomes is 66%, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and 8.1 yards per attempt. We played this game on Fast Drive Football, and if you want to watch that video, close your ears. Spoiler alert. It was a back and forth game, and there was a lot of offense. Chiefs won the game 40-35, but Burrows outplayed slightly Mahomes. He had 3 touchdown passes, and Mahomes had a couple of interceptions. I think 1 touchdown pass. We had a couple touchdown runs. Maybe he had two TD passes. But it was a tough game, and I expect this is going to be a close, tough game this week. Ronald Jones got his debut last week, but now he's turned up ill. So guess who we signed?
Oh, the fumbler, Melvin Gordon.
The fumbler, the fumbler, Melvin Gordon. Andy Reid has a good chance to fix that. I mean, that's probably the first.
Try this week. Maybe not this week, Andy. Wait a week until we're playing somebody that's not as good as the Bengals.
I think he's going to get on the field.
Oof.
Because
I'd be nervous every time.
McKinnon's been a little less than underwhelming in his running. Pacheco's been very good. Pacheco's 455 yards now, 4.7 average. He had a really good game. Last two games have been really good. So I do think that the ball will get into Gordon's hands a couple of times, and the Bengals will be trying to strip it out of his hands. Lori says, congratulations to, yeah, you put that up there, to the new baby, the new Mahomes little one, Bronze. That's going to be his nickname. Yeah. I think, though, that's not going to be a distraction. I think Mahomes will have a lot on his mind based on what happened last year. They were going along comfortably in the first half of the championship game until they had that little dispute on the 2-yard line at the end of the first half when Mahomes didn't like to play. The enemy set in and they were screaming at each other at halftime. Hopefully they've learned something. He came back out in the championship game and his mind was not in the game. It was really a bad half, that second half of the AFC championship game. I haven't seen any bad halves.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Bieniemy's calling a lot of plays. I mean, it kind of looks like it on the sidelines, but Andy Reid's pretty active over there, more than I think I've seen in past years. And you also got Mike Nagy in Mahomes' ear. I know a lot of people criticize Nagy as the coach of the Chicago Bears and the way he brought along Justin Fields or failed to bring him along. But
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, but he is kind of a quarterback guru for Mahomes. Mahomes likes him.
Yeah.
And he was with Mahomes before he was with the Bears. Now he's back with Mahomes. I kind of think Bieniemy has less and less say these days than he had. I don't see him falling apart like he did in the AFC Championship game. I do think it's important that our defensive line gets after Burrow, and that could happen. Everybody's healthy. Chris Jones has got 10 sacks. Dunlap's got 4. And that defensive line has batted down a dozen passes led by George Kalafdis. He's knocked down 5. And Dunlap's gotten some passes, and Chris Jones has knocked down some passes. So I think Kelsey will have a bounce back game. He's at 73 catches and 912 yards. He may come out of this game now as a 1,000-yard receiver. And this year he set a personal record for 12 touchdowns. He's never caught that many in a season. Now he has got 12, and that was a good one last week. He is surprisingly fast,
isn't he?
Maybe he's got long legs or something. He just doesn't look like he's running fast, but he is kind of moving out there.
Yeah, he scoots. It doesn't look pretty sometimes.
This is going to be Andy. It's a pick'em game. I think it's going to be the game of the week. We're all on Kansas City. Tough to pick a team that's won their last 26 games in November and December. It's hard to go against them.
Yeah.
Chargers at the Raiders.
So I'm going to be at this game. I'm hoping for a good one because, man, I'd love to see both these teams lose.
Well, they could end up tied. You can cheer for a tie.
That would be great. I would love to see that. So, the Chargers, they're getting maybe a little healthier. It seems like they take a step forward and they take a step back and they kind of stay where they're at. Health-wise, they've got so much talent that's just kind of sitting there. Herbert looked a lot more human in this back part of the season than he did in the front. The Raiders are starting to put it a little bit together. Their penalties are down from what I saw. Maybe you can confirm that when you speak on the game, but it's two teams that are kind of a mess coaching wise. They really, both of them are disjointed. Staley, he's been a little better than in the past, but not a lot. The Chargers defense, they aren't the force that I thought they were going to be, but Derwin James is a great one. I had a lot of trouble with this game, but in the end, I decided to go with the Raiders in this one.
Are you going to wear black?
Jacobs is just on a tear, and I believe that they'll find enough plays with Adams.
You going to wear black to the stadium or powder blue?
Yeah, I don't want to get killed, man.
Well, if it was Oakland, I'd worry, but I don't know about.
Yeah, Vegas. It's not as dangerous.
Well, I don't know if it was. I was watching Josh Jacobs last week or Bo Jackson.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness, 229 yards and then that 86-yard run to seal it for Las Vegas. Wow. He's now the NFL leader in rushing, Josh Jacobs. And that sets a franchise record as well. I think this game comes down to who's more consistent, Derek Carr or Justin Herbert. I think it's Herbert. Carr's at 63%, 18.7 on touchdowns and interceptions, 7.1 yards per pass attempt. It's pretty close. Herbert's 67%, 19-7.
Yeah.
And 6.7 yards per pass attempt. So kind of the same there. I wish we were seeing Bosa, but he's not back yet. Maybe second or third week of December, he might be back. So he's showing a mid-December return. One thing in this game, Derwin James, I think, can focus now on hitting people instead of chasing around Travis Kelce.
That's true. Or Darren Waller.
Huh?
Or Darren Waller.
Yeah, I don't think Waller's playing, is he?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It looked like Collins was more plugged in last week than he has been for a couple of weeks. Devontae Adams had a good game. Yeah, this is kind of a picking game for me. Lori's going with the Chargers. DJ John's going for the Chargers. I do think the Chargers are playing for more. They're 6-5, whereas Vegas is 4-7. Chargers are trying to keep up with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chargers, but I may regret that. All right, next game is the Colts at Cowboys.
Well, the Cowboys are getting really good at the right time, and they've got a pretty good schedule to close out the year. Really, their defense is as good as any, I think, in the NFL. They're very talented at every level there. Van Der Esch is starting to really make some plays. He's struggled with injuries throughout his career, but he's been fairly healthy this year, and he's doing well at the linebacker spot from what I can see. Mike Parsons is otherworldly, and Diggs is a shutdown corner.
And you are starting to do something. I'm not being able to talk about him for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. He's got to step it up, buddy. And I think the offense is really figuring it out. CeeDee Lamb's been very productive recently. They're using Pollard really well in the open field. They're getting him some good looks. He's running it as well as almost anybody other than maybe Josh Jacobs. And they've figured out a way to use Zeke when they need tough yards. I like the Cowboys because the Colts just don't have a lot that I've enjoyed watching this year. They cannot get their running back going. Michael Pittman is pretty good, but he's doing everything he can. There's not a lot else for Ryan to throw to, and they can't block anybody. So the Cowboys should – hopefully Ryan makes it out of this game.
Yeah, this game's going to be played at AT&T Stadium, and I can see the Cowboys defensive line coming in wearing red sashes, playing Tombstone music in the background. It's going to be like the Cowboys overrunning a Mexican town in that movie. The only problem with this picture is Matt Ryan is not Wyatt Earp. He will not be bringing justice. And yeah, I agree. I hope he survives this game. 69%, 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, 6.3 yards per attempt. Their only hope really in this game is if Jonathan Taylor takes over this game running wise, and that kind of softens Dallas's pass rush. But unless Jonathan Taylor goes off, they're going to cut loose on that pass rush, and I think Myers going to be in trouble. Losing Leonard off the defense is a big loss, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Paye, the other defensive line, he's not back yet, so they're missing him. Cowboys are just too strong. They're 7-4 against the spread, and Indianapolis is 2-4 against the spread on the road. So I think it's a pretty strong Cowboy pick. Everybody's on the Cowboys. All right, last game is the New Orleans Saints wearing their black helmets. This is a vintage helmet. I don't have a new black helmet, but the Saints at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints are 4-8. Tampa's 5-6.
Yeah, this is a tough game to pick, isn't it? I mean, the Saints play well against the Bucs. It's a kind of a pick 'em to me. I don't like Tampa Bay's offense. I think they've got so much talent, but they're really not using it correctly. They looked okay last week. They just kind of got beat there at the end. New Orleans looked bad against the Niners. They were just completely shut out. They scored, of course, 0 points.
They crossed the field about 50 times, but they just couldn't get any points.
Yeah. Well, Kamara fumbled multiple times for the first time in his career. They really couldn't get it, they couldn't get it inside the 20. You can't win a football game if you can't get into the red zone. I think that I like Tampa in this game, but it's going to be a weird one. New Orleans may bounce back and beat them, but give me Tampa.
Okay, Tampa is missing
Wirfs, right?
Yeah.
So they'll have trouble blocking again, which is
maybe Brady will have to throw it in 1.5 seconds instead of 2.5 seconds. Just get the ball, check it. Oh boy. Godecki is also questionable on Tampa's offensive line. So bear in mind what I said about two guys gone in the same unit. But then, Andy Dalton, we talk about Cousins in prime time. Andy Dalton has a history of struggling in prime time also. Saints are 0-5 against the spread on the road, and their quarterback Lattimore is still out. But the only thing going positive for the Saints is Chris Olave. 56 catches, 822 yards. He might have a shot at Rookie of the Year type thing.
He's very good.
Yeah. But I think best of a bad choice is, I think, Tampa Bay. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Now we need to figure out what we're going to send Rob, and this is critical because we're behind. And we've lost a bunch of picks. We started winning a bunch of picks in a row, and now we've lost a bunch of picks in a row. We're all in agreement with Buffalo, so that's going to Rob. Disagreement with Pittsburgh. Atlanta. Three of us picked Pittsburgh, but you picked Atlanta. I'm going to give you a choice because you won the week last week with 12 wins.
I like the majority on this one. I mean, to be honest with you, this was me just kind of throwing one out there. I thought Atlanta might be due. Pittsburgh probably has the better team.
Pittsburgh's on a march to get back to 500. So I'm kind of liking them. Green Bay, we all had Green Bay. Jacksonville, two of us had Jacksonville and two of us had Detroit. That's a tough one. What do you like on that one? Looks like you froze. Oh boy. You and I both had Jacksonville, so I think we'll go ahead and go with Jacksonville. It'll probably mean Detroit will win. And then in the next game, the Jets, three of us had Minnesota. One of us had the Jets. I guess we'll go with Minnesota since that was your pick. And the feed dropped Dan. So let's see if he will try to click on or not. If not, we'll fly solo. He's trying to come back. There we go.
Sorry about that.
You got dropped. Jacksonville, Detroit, we were 2-2 on those picks.
Ooh. How does everybody feel on that one? I mean, I had Jacksonville.
Yeah, you and I had Jacksonville. DJ had Detroit, and Laura had Detroit.
And
that is like Detroit's favored by 1 point. That's about a pick 'em game.
That is a pick 'em game. I like Jacksonville's roster better. I love I think that defensively, I worry that the Lions can't stay in any game because they're just going to give up so many points.
Minnesota and Jets. We have 3 Minnesotas and 1 Jet, so we'll go with Minnesota.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Washington, we have 3 Washingtons and 1 New York. We'll go with Washington. Everybody was on Philly and Baltimore and Cleveland and Seattle. We're all in agreement on San Francisco, KC. We got 3 Chargers, and you have Vegas.
Oh, we got to go Chargers then. I mean, Herbert, that Chargers team should beat Vegas the way that Vegas has played in the totality of the season, but
They had a lot of guts to go for 2 points, and they completed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has Dallas on that, and everybody has Tampa Bay. So there's our picks. Let's bless our pick before we send them to Rob. We need some help. We need some holy water or something.
Right. I'll bring in an old priest and a young priest. It'll be great.
I got some more right here. There's some holy water on the picks. All right, Dan, thanks a lot. I'm going to go join the show and just take a beating, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. Oh, boy. Here we go.
We'll be nice about it, but I'm going to be humbled.
Oh, hey, hopefully we get them this week. We got to come back.
DJ, Lori, and everyone else who has joined us, thanks for watching. You all have a good day, and God bless. I'll be on the Rob exclamation point show. We'll give our picks to Rob now.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.